What can we expect to see now? We're going to bring in Joe Cirincione. He is he's a member, I should say, of the Secretary of State's Nuclear Advisory Board, also the president of the Plowshares Fund. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to make you formal when you're current.
That's all right.
That's always better. Let me just, again, go back to that breaking news that Rena just brought us. Israel's reaction now to the report on the state of Iran's nuclear program. Essentially, Israel saying we need to stop Iran. Joe, number one, do you agree with that? And number two, how do we do it?
Absolutely. The Iranian program is a threat. There is no real military solution to this. Israel doesn't have the capacity to stop the Iran program. Even if the U.S. launched military attacks, it would actually take a ground invasion to bring that program to a halt. That's a whole new war in the Middle East. It would tank the global economy. No one really wants to go there. Sanctions, however, have been effective in slowing the program down. I would look for a new round of unilateral sanctions by the United States tomorrow, rather next week, targeted on the nuclear program, on the Revolutionary Guard, on the missile program. I expect the Board of Governors of the IAEA to take this up by the middle of the month. There may still be some outside chance of a new round of UN Security Council sanctions. All of this building pressure on Iran, forcing them to trying to force them to end the program, come clean on their past activities.
Joe, know that if Russia and China are not on board with those sanctions, then it weakens them significantly. And Russia came out with a statement this morning saying that essentially if there's additional sanctions against Iran, that's going to be viewed by the Russians as a regime change, and they say that's unacceptable. So what do we do about that?
That's exactly right. You know, Iran basically has a Herman Cain problem. They both did something terribly wrong in the past that's now being disclosed. It's humiliating to try to acknowledge what happened. So how do you walk them out of this kind of situation? Russia does not want more sanctions. Fine. Then Russia help us diplomatically find a way to negotiate an end to the Iranian activities. That's the pressure you put on Russia.
What's
China
in it for
is
Russia,
probably
though? I mean, what's in it for Russia on that?
One, Russia doesn't want instability on its borders. They have their own Muslim problems in their territories, and Iran is a business partner of Russia's. Russia canceled military sales worth billions to Iran because of the kinds of sanctions that have been put on by the UN Security Council. They would like to restart that. So there's business interests at play that would like to see an end to this program, like to see commerce restored. Russia not only feels that, but many European countries. That's one of the economic cards the U.S. has to play.
It'll be interesting to see if that can play out. Let me draw upon your technical expertise when it comes to nuclear weapons. You've said in the past that Iran is really 3 to 5 years away from having the bomb. Do you still believe that? And when we talk about the bomb that potentially Iran could have, what are we really talking about? Who's really I guess, a part of this threat? You know, who can really be targeted? Can it target? Will they be able to target us in the United States? Is it Israel? Who's really at the center of this?
Sure. The kind of bomb Iran could construct will be probably a large bomb, something you could shipping container, something you could drop by plane. That means it could be brought by boat any place in the world, but if you're talking about a delivery by a military vehicle, either a missile or a plane, that's regional. It doesn't have missiles that can reach past southern Europe at this point, so it doesn't really have a missile that can deliver a bomb to most of Europe, certainly not the United States, still years away from that kind of capability. Here's why people think that Iran is still years away from a nuclear bomb. They don't have the material yet to build the bomb. They have low enriched uranium. If you want to enrich that to the high levels for a bomb, that takes at least 6 months. Some people think up to a year. You would most likely see them doing it. They'd have to kick out the inspector, start that enrichment. After that, it's another year or two to actually make the device. Most of the activities in this IAEA report are 10 years old, some 20 years old. They certainly have been researching it, but there's no evidence they perfected it. That's why we still have a timeline of somewhere between 1 and 5 years before they'd actually have a weapon. The U.S. intelligence does not believe Iran has made a decision to build that weapon. Everything I've seen confirms that U.S. intelligence assessment.
Joe Cirincione, thank you so much for your expertise as always. We appreciate your insights, and we'll have more happening now in just a moment.
Thank you.